What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Sam Dracula channel, a Charlotte Hornets fan channel. And today I have a very special guest as my dog. Make some noise in the background. Dr. Rogers with me, injury expert. Doc, how you doing?
Good. How about yourself, man? Thanks for having me.
Oh, I'm doing well. I appreciate you taking some time out to talk about some injuries with the Hornets. It's a running theme we have going on with the franchise right now, one after the other. Even Nate Darling looked like he got hurt yesterday, like one day after another. Like everyone can get it. Before we get into the injuries itself, you're a Lakers fan. I was curious about just your opinion on the Hornets this year. I think there's been a lot of attention on the franchise. They're winning games. LaMelo, obviously, in the first half of the season. What do you think about the Hornets as an outsider?
Man, I mean, we talk about like league pass teams, right? I mean, and they're one of my favorite league pass teams. Just the way, Borrego has them playing, moving the ball, playing very quick, very, very switchable on defense. You see what the profile they're going for. And I think, and with LaMelo, obviously, he's kind of become the key to that engine, being able to really bring that ball up in transition and in pace, shooting a high amount of shots from the three, trying to get in the lane. So they're really moving towards, the modern day era of basketball, and they're kind of fun to watch. Of course, you got Miles Bridges, you got high leapers, right? It's a good combination of players. I think there might be a little bit of overlap with guys like Devontae and Rozier, so you kind of have to work that through the roster. But you see all the ingredients, and you really see that mentality developing, which I think is really exciting to see.
With LaMelo Ball's injury, initially reports were that he was going to be out for the entire season. It appears he had successful surgery, and then at the time of the surgery, he'd be reevaluated after 4 weeks. Could you talk to that language about reevaluated after that amount of time? It's not he'll be ready to go after 4 weeks. Like where is that? And like how can you help like Hornets fans kind of temper their expectations a little bit with LaMelo's injury?
Yeah, so essentially a reevaluation, what it means is that the player, essentially what it means is that the team will be releasing more information on him at that time, right? A lot of these guys are being assessed on a daily basis. With LaMelo, a little bit different because he's still on a cast, right? So he has to allow that bone to heal. So all a reevaluation means is that we'll give you more information on him at that time. We'll go through a full assessment with him at that time and then give you a public release of information, right? And so most of these guys, whether it's LaMelo, a lot of the ankle sprains, they're being assessed daily because the training staff will see them daily. That reevaluation just means, hey, at this point in time, you will have more information available to you in public.
And that type of injury, you mentioned in your video at the time that it's not something that will likely linger. So when he's ready to go, he'll be likely to move forward. It won't be a recurring type of injury, correct?
Yeah, the key thing with that type of injury, and this is what they do in physio and training, you always want to limit how much wrist mobility he's lost, wrist and thumb mobility. And that's really the key part of getting back to the court. But overall, considering it's a professional team, he'll have treatment multiple times per day. That's not really a concern. The biggest thing is really allowing that area to heal. And that's going to be the constraint. That's going to be where you see some of that variance in timeline.
Gotcha. And so I'm hopeful, obviously, as a fan, that LaMelo makes his return at some point this season. Not only for his individual sake, because I still think he wins Rookie of the Year despite being out, but just to like really solidify it for his like as an individual, but also from a team perspective, getting the team fully healthy again would be really nice to see. Really nice to see.
Right.
But do you think it's realistic to have your expectations as a fan on a LaMelo return at any point this year?
Yeah, I think it's definitely realistic to think that, right? Especially if the team's getting into the playoffs. So I think it's certainly a realistic aspect, especially with, like I said, to me, that injury, it's more just about how quickly the bone is healing or isn't healing. So based on the research on those tends to be four-ish to 5 weeks. I would anticipate him being back before the season ends. But again, there's always variance on this stuff. So
yeah, he's teasing us too. He's out here taking pregame threes with his offhand.
Yeah, he is.
Currently Malik Monk is on the shelf with a sprained ankle. Gordon Hayward has a right foot sprain. Could you help me understand the difference in those injuries? Because Monk's timetable for return after reevaluation is 2 weeks. Hayward is looking like a month for him. What can you describe the difference in those types of injuries and the recovery involved with each?
Yeah, sure. So an ankle sprain is going to be higher up in the foot. So when you turn that ankle inwards, that's an ankle sprain. And so that allows him to recover a bit quicker compared to the injury that Gordon had, which is likely a ligament within the foot, which has a lot more dense anatomy. Those just tend to take a little bit longer time. We don't have any specifics on what exactly happened. I just watched the video of how he got hurt. And it's kind of like he didn't twist his ankle, but he stepped on someone's foot, kind of like in a weird position. So he likely sprained one of those ligaments within the foot. And so it's just a little bit more complex as you go deeper into the foot, which then tends to lead to some of those longer return timelines. Whereas in Monk's case, from my understanding, he has a pretty straightforward ankle sprain, probably a grade 2 based on how long he's going to be out, meaning a moderate sprain. Those are just easier to deal with because they're more straightforward than a foot sprain is.
And are those injuries that can linger and like be re-aggravated after they're cleared, do you think? Or is
yes,
that something? Okay.
Both of those are. Unfortunately, they are. I would say ankle sprain is probably, you might have some higher risk of re-injury just because you can turn that ankle again. But with a foot sprain, because that foot, it takes direct contact every step, right? It's just taking a little bit more blunt force and stress to it, which can cause re-injury. Anytime, though, you have a ligament injury, there's a higher chance for re-injury in the short term for sure. That's inherent for any player.
Yeah, and like any player, PJ has an ankle sprain as well. It's going around, not great. Get well soon, fellas.
The good news, I think the good news on all their injuries, on all the Hornets, they're all contact injuries. You play ball, you know the risks you take, right? You get hit by contact, step on someone's foot, you're going to get injured. Where I get concerned is if I'm seeing non-contact stuff, that's telling me, okay, the player might be fatigued, right? There's something else going on. And so that to me is a key silver lining for the Hornets and their injuries.
I like silver linings. We like silver linings around here. I appreciate that. I appreciate your time as well. Is there anything you'd like to mention before we say goodbye?
I'll plug my stuff. You can always find me on social media. It's 3CB, 3 Charlie Beta Performance. Check me out there. Check me out on YouTube. Hope to be on here more often. Not for injuries, for whatever. People hate me at this point, man. But
yeah, we'll get you back.
Yeah, I appreciate you, man.
Cool. All his info is in the link in the description. All the links are in the description, so check them out. I appreciate it. Take care.
Thanks, Rob.